All right, let's dive right into one of the most mind-bending ideas in all of physics. It's a theory that suggests the answers to some of our biggest mysteries, like UAPs, aren't light years away in the stars, but are actually hidden in dimensions all around us, right now.
So forget everything you think you know about portals or wormholes. This idea, which comes out of string theory, is way wilder. It says that extra dimensions aren't somewhere else, they are right here, in this room, woven into the very fabric of space itself. Which, of course, leads to a huge question. If they're literally everywhere, why can't we see them?
So first up, a universe of dimensions. Let's unpack the theory of how we could be living inside a much, much bigger reality without ever even realizing it. Physicists have this term, a brane. It's short for membrane. And the best way to think about it is to imagine our entire universe is just one single page in a massive book. We and all the matter that makes us up, we're like 2D drawings stuck on that page. We can move up, down, left, right, but we have absolutely no idea that there are other pages right next to ours. Those other pages, those are the extra dimensions. Now, our particles are glued to this page, but here's the kicker. Some forces, like gravity, might just be able to leak between the pages.
Okay, but this isn't just some philosophical thought experiment. Scientists are out there, right now, actively hunting for hard evidence of these hidden worlds. So let's take a look at how they're trying to peek between the pages of our reality.
What's really amazing here is just how many different ways they're tackling this. You've got the Large Hadron Collider smashing particles together, looking for energy that just disappears. Where would it go? Well, maybe it's leaking into another dimension. Then you have these incredibly sensitive gravity experiments, testing Newton's laws at the tiniest scales to see if they wobble. We're even looking at dying stars and listening for weird echoes in gravitational waves for any sign of these hidden worlds. And this number? This is basically how far we've looked so far. It is an impossibly small scale, a trillionth of a meter. And yeah, the Large Hadron Collider hasn't found any extra dimensions bigger than this. But that's the whole point. It leaves an absolutely massive, infinite space for reality to be way more complicated, with countless dimensions curled up so tight that they are completely invisible to us and our best machines. So, to really wrap our heads around this, let's step away from the lab for a minute and try a little thought experiment. It's all about changing our perspective. Just for a moment, let's pretend that we exist in 4 spatial dimensions, not 3. We can look down on a flat, 2-dimensional universe the same way you might look down at a cartoon drawn on a piece of paper. Now, from our lofty 4D lab, we decide to interact with this little flat world. We just gently poke our 4D finger right through their 2D plane. What do you think the Flatlanders living there would actually see? Well, they wouldn't see a finger, no way. All they would perceive is the cross-section of our finger passing through their world. So a tiny dot would just appear out of nowhere, expand into a circle, maybe change shape a little, and then shrink back to a dot and vanish completely. To them, it would be this bizarre, magical event that completely breaks all their known laws of physics. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. Let's flip the camera. Now, we're the 2D civilization. We're the ones living on that flat sheet of paper. Our huge 3-dimensional universe is just a brane floating in a much larger, higher-dimensional space. And this gives us an absolutely stunning new way to think about things. What if UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, are exactly that? What if they are the 3D cross-section of a 4D object passing through our reality? An object that seems to appear from nothing, disappear into nothing, and move in impossible ways, isn't actually breaking our laws of physics. It's just following the laws of its own higher dimension. All right, let's take this idea and move it from a thought experiment to the real world. Let's see how this theory might explain some very real, very well-documented mysteries that are happening right now. You've probably heard about the strange glowing orbs that are constantly being seen and filmed at places like Skinwalker Ranch. They're infamous for behaving in ways that just don't make sense. So, could they be a real-world example of that 4D finger poking through our world? Just think about the reported behaviors. They materialize and vanish in an instant. They pull off right-angle turns and accelerations that would crush any pilot and tear any known aircraft apart. And they do it with no inertia. There's no sonic boom when they break the sound barrier. They've even been seen moving through solid objects like mountainsides. Every single one of these impossible behaviors is exactly what you would expect to see if you were only witnessing a 3D slice of a 4D object. And this is really the key takeaway here. The orb isn't moving or accelerating the way we think of it, like a jet. It's just shifting its position or its angle of entry from that higher dimensional space, what physicists call the bulk. The impossible speed we see might just be the result of a tiny rotation in a dimension that we can't even perceive. It's not about propulsion, it's about geometry. So if these things are real, and if this theory has any weight to it, it all leads to the ultimate question: who or what is behind these 4D objects? And the answer to that might just be the most shocking part of this whole thing. This quote is just perfect. It perfectly captures where we are right now, technologically. When it comes to the really deep, fundamental forces of the universe, like nuclear energy, we're basically just smashing rocks together. We're dropping the piano down the stairs to hear the loud crash. We haven't actually learned how to sit down and play the music. Now, this idea paints a really fascinating picture. Imagine a fork in the road of human history. In our timeline, we pursued the Manhattan Project. We figured out how to make a really loud noise by dropping the piano. But what if there's another timeline, a parallel humanity, that instead of building a bomb, first cracked Einstein's ultimate dream, a unified field theory? They wouldn't have dropped the piano, they would have learned how to play it, unlocking the universe's secrets and taking a quantum leap forward. And this leads to this incredible Battlestar Galactica-style twist. The really shocking reveal isn't that aliens are here, it's that the other has been us this entire time. The pilots of these craft aren't from another star system, they're from another timeline. This just reframes everything, doesn't it? These phenomena we're seeing aren't an invasion or threat. What if it's just a field trip? Maybe it's an anthropological study being done by a future or parallel version of us. A version that learned how to play the music of reality and can now travel the multiverse to come check on their less developed cousins. So the next time you're looking at the night sky and you see something you just can't explain, maybe it's not something to be afraid of. Maybe it's a little hello from the neighbors next door in the multiverse. Or maybe, just maybe, it's you dropping in from the timeline where we learned to play the keys right.